Well, that answers the question. Then it is dark magic.
Yeah.
No, it's light magic because it happens because he's laughing so hard.
Exactly.
I have no idea.
Darkness. Laughter is the darkest of all.
You know what I do have an idea of? For the first time, live on 4 different platforms.
What's the fourth?
What are platforms?
It's called
YouTube, Twitch, and 2 other
and
nameless
Facebook
peoples.
and this
Oh, that's
other one.
nameless.
This other one called
Nobody knows Facebook.
Twitter. We're also on Twitter live.
Oh, we're being hosted by Musk.
Yeah, we're being hosted by the Musk.
Are we verified though?
It is. Oh, actually, we will be by the end of the week.
What?
Yeah. I spent $8
Okay.
on the verification for the account.
Oh,
Fuck
did you?
that. I was like, yeah, we're getting the check mark. It's the Villains Talk Show.
See,
And
the only thing
podcast.
about that I've been supporting on that chat is like people are saying that like it shouldn't just be a check mark. If you're paying for it, you should get like a fancy little crown or something.
As always, I'd like to thank our Patreons for the Wheel and
Something
Rushala.
like that, yeah.
I am
Did you guys
C4
hear the news though?
with.
Did you guys hear the news that there's going to be like a second, like officially verified option that you can't just buy?
Yeah, there's 3 options in total. There's 3 different verification check marks. I just read that today.
But you can get it all for $8.
One of them you get for $8. One of them you get for free, and I have no idea what the fucking third one is for.
Just so you know, we're not live on Twitch.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah, I had to pause that one for a second. That one was lagging. I will go back live on Twitch soon. But we're live everywhere else. This is what this tells me. It says we're live. I'm just going to roll with it. I am C4 with the Greasy Boy, Elusive Gentleman, and the Viking. Hopefully someday Insaniac will return. But
It's not live on Facebook either.
Really?
Yeah, I just checked.
Huh.
You know what we are live in though?
What?
Our hearts.
True. We're alive in the world, I think.
It's not Saturday night.
Well, we are on YouTube. We are on YouTube and Twitter, so we'll roll with those.
I don't have Twitter, so I can't check Twitter.
We'll I just did, so we'll roll with that. So 2 different platforms today.
But you
We're not
don't
live on
normally
YouTube
use?
either.
What?
We're not live on YouTube either.
Mine says we are. I'm watching it right now.
I'm looking right now.
Well, Facebook. No, wait, Twitter. I don't know. I've lost track.
It says we have an upcoming one.
I'm watching it right now, so I'll just keep moving forward with it.
Uh-huh.
I'll figure it out next time.
Just waiting.
We might be lying about the things we're live on. We don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know what we're live.
But we tried.
Let's just move on with the topic.
Did we?
We'll figure it out next time, or at least I will. I'll hopefully will. I don't know. It says we're live. Anyway, fuck that. Today we're talking about 3 bodies.
We have
Yeah.
4
Yeah.
bodies here.
Here.
We're talking about 3
we have
bodies.
4 here.
But there's 4 of us. Do we not all have bodies? Which one of us doesn't have one?
Jeremy.
Well, that seems accurate.
Technically, the Elusive Gentleman. Does he have a body, or is he simply an AI that we programmed into the show?
Oh, it's even worse than that. I'm a figment of the Matrix that you're in, the Matrix simulation. that
You're
you
a
are
figment
in.
of the Matrix imagination.
I'm like Neil Patrick Harris of Agents.
There.
When the Matrix sleeps, it dreams of me. Um, no. It's kind of a tag on two things. One of our episodes, we
Also not live on Twitter.
it, uh, whatever. We'll just keep going. Um. Oh, now I lost my train of thought. Now you take over.
Okay, so a couple
Like
weeks
trains.
ago, trains. A couple
Well, can we
weeks ago,
talk
we were
about
talking
trains?
D&D campaign and asking all the questions. So we were talking about like how our world has 3 moons, possibly 3 suns, and a bunch of fish. Although we did not get verification on the fish or not. But last week we spoke about vampires. So this week we're talking about werewolves and the effects that a world with 3 moons would have on werewolves.
It seems like an important question. So,
I think that pretty much covers everything we needed to do.
So that on top of, what's gonna make this funny is I'm gonna let them go off for a bit, but I've been reading a book series recently called The Three Body Problem. I have him right over there. It's always hard to pronounce the guy's name. It's Chinua Liu, and funny enough, because it's a dark science fiction novel, and it's about this exact topic. And it's funny because in our campaign world, or in our fantasy world, the Illicit Gentleman of Build, he has 3 moons. And it's funny because it just works as anyone would in any fantasy where you have multiple planets that just kind of satellites that circle a planet. And you think that, oh yeah, every 1,000 years they all line up, or every 2,000 years they all line up. But then you start looking at the math of it. And that's what these books are about. And it's actually ridiculous. So yeah. Do you guys want to go first, or will I?
well, what do we want to talk about more? Vampires or math? Or
We've
not
already
vampires,
did vampires.
werewolves.
I mean, the point of the book is about an alien invasion, so it's most like aliens, werewolves, right?
Alien werewolf.
Well,
Alien
here's my
werewolf math.
question. If you have a world where you have multiple moons, I mean, there's a problem with the tides and all that, but who cares about that? The real question is, do the werewolves change every time there is any full moon, or do they have to wait for a specific full moon?
Why not
Or
both?
would werewolves in this world just not be tied to the moon at all? I don't know.
Maybe they're wenwolves.
The hard-hitting questions.
Why wolves?
The why wolves.
Owlwolves.
Wait, that is actually like in a fantasy setting. Yeah, if you have a place with 3 moons, that means there's one moon that's always up, even if you
Yeah.
can't see it. So the werewolves would just always be werewolves.
No, that actually plays out more like Underworld.
Like,
Because it's not the full light of any moon that's up at any one time. So in other words, they're not full demon. They have control over their powers. The way D&D actually explains a werewolf.
Yeah, but that's not
If
the
you
only
read,
way
if,
that
if
should
you,
go.
yeah, but if you read the way D&D, that's part of the reason why I have 3 moons.
Oh, we're gonna find werewolves?
Maybe,
dear.
maybe not.
but
I
then you
mean, one of you's already stumbled into a whole tribe of them.
True.
but then if you have 3 moons on a planet, wouldn't that
Mhm.
planet just naturally be hotter too? Because you have
Yeah.
you have all the reflection of the moons.
So that's why we don't get winter.
So you notice there's only winter in certain places.
Huh, that's fascinating.
So
I don't
winter
know, would
doesn't
that
exist.
actually make a significant difference, though? It's not like there's a lot of heat coming from the moon.
But it's the reflection of light off the moons.
Yeah.
It means
I
there's
don't think
always
that's
going to be a constant reflection, so it would be like 2 degrees warmer.
Everyone knows
That's
you
really
only need
interesting.
6 degrees of separation.
The other thing is, unless the moons revolve around each other, if they only revolve around the planet, then it's like, what is it? The ability for two moons to calculate two moons pathing is easy. Like you could say these two moons path every 3 times, like every 100 years. But then you add a third moon, it could be, all right, so they'll cross this year. But then because of the gravitational force of the two other moons acting on the third body, you're going to have the third body and the other two bodies constantly changing their rotational pattern. So
Possibly.
constantly. The only way to like that's why I wanted to bring up this book, is that's the whole thing, is Alpha Centauri, a real star in our system, has 3 suns. And there's actually planets that are in that solar system. And there has been people that have dedicated their life to trying to calculate the math of how those 3 suns actually revolve around each other and not throw one away into space, and haven't. And it is possible, but the problem is anyone will tell you, if you have the gravitational force of one thing and another, you can do that math all day. But once you involve a second thing or a third thing, the math becomes so insane, because it's the effect of gravity, and how gravity changes at every single second upon an object. And when you add a third thing of gravity, it makes it almost impossible to calculate. It's not impossible. It's just it takes it you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when it's that's why I was bringing it up. The way I bring it up is when people are able to calculate that every 1,000 years all 3 moons line up. That's magic, because in reality that there would be no way to know.
Well, that was the thing. The way the moons lined up, I did say that they estimate they have it about every 1,000 years.
Because the way the 3 bodies.
And the last time that happened, a meteor fell.
Actually, man, you should really read this book. I should leave that book with you, because that's exactly the kind of thing that happens. Because you go through the story of the alien race and their history, and they'll predict that, so it's supposed to be 100 years of good because this sun's in rotation, and then the other one will come in. But because of the gravitational mass of the 2 other bodies, all they notice is that the closer sun rises, and
then you know what makes the math even worse is if they're red suns or yellow suns.
That's it. Is one's a bigger sun, and that's the and they have. Man, you should read this book. It would really help.
Each one has like a different gravity and the way they work, and how much heat they put off, which would completely change the environment. So when, like, say, the red sun's over, you might be hotter than when the yellow sun's over, but the red sun doesn't provide as much like photosynthesis light.
So in this book, what makes it cool is the aliens can dehydrate themselves. That's how they live. So if they mispredict something or there's a catastrophe to their planet, they dehydrate. But in Magic, or I guess in D&D, if you have 3 moons, there would have to be something to prevent massive fucking monsoons and tidal waves from coming over entire islands. Because...
What about 16 moons?
Well, that's the thing. So you look at Jupiter. Jupiter has so much gravitic mass affecting on it, is no one actually knows the true size of Jupiter, because it's impossible to get anything close enough to it. Because you have... And all the moons... They don't revolve around each other. They revolve around Jupiter, which is what I said. If the moons revolve around the Earth, then that's fine. That's easy to predict, because they're all only acting with the Earth. The problem is if you have one moon that's acting around another moon, and then you have this moon and the Earth. As soon as you have that third body moving around another body, these bodies become unpredictable because then all of a sudden their movement around the main body gets changed constantly. It's fucking nuts. It's such cool science.
It really is. So then the question you have to ask is, are they rotating around each other, rotating around the planet?
Well, if he has a shadow moon, that would suggest that there's one rotating around another moon. Because you can only see it in the shadow of another.
Or just that there's something weird about that moon.
Maybe it's not a moon.
Maybe it's a... Oh my god, it's a moon, but it's shaped like a
It's a Death
giant
Star.
dumbbell.
We did it. We figured it out.
It's shaped like a giant
moon's-
dumbbell.
The third moon's just a Death Star.
It's just a Death Star.
There's no moon.
It's a secret open fuck button.
They know, or they already do.
Could you imagine?
Man, I can't actually find it. I was trying to look up if Jupiter's moons have a set orbit that they follow regularly, but I can't actually find any information.
I don't believe they do. That is very, very long ago astronomy class.
Yeah.
Astrology. Astronomy? Astrology. Astronomy.
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 Astrology is.
Those signs and the gay science. The gay pseudoscience.
Yeah, it's astronomy.
Stars. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, I don't believe they do. But that's, I haven't taken astronomy since junior.
Fair enough.
You heard it here, folks. Elusive
But I don't
gentleman,
believe they do.
Proven astrologist.
Proven, totally.
I thought it was astronomist.
Neil deGrasse Tyson just...
You heard what I said.
Even though he's a...
He'll read your palm for $5.
Ooh. And then I'll tell you about your birth sign. No.
Okay, so at least 8 of Jupiter's moons do have regular orbits.
Do they really?
8 of them. That's 8 out of 8.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not sure about the rest yet. There's 4 other regular ones.
These are the biggest, aren't they?
No. Not necessarily.
So it'd make more sense for the big ones to go.
It would.
Well,
The
little ones would be
4
more
separate ones
by
here are
bigger one
smaller.
gravities.
Okay, so 8 are regular satellites with prograde, while the other ones, or the rest, are irregular satellites.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I
there's
thought. So
4
the
other
8
regular satellites.
prograde ones probably fuck with the
Oh, yeah.
gravity of the other ones.
It is an irregular satellite, though.
Satellites.
It's
regular.
elliptic.
It still goes around a body,
All that.
but it doesn't
Natural
have...
satellite following a distant, inclined, and often eccentric and retrograde orbit.
hmm And then they can be tidally locked or just locked.
Yeah.
But
Like Pluto.
irregular ones, they move in irregular. I think is it Mercury irregular?
Pluto.
Pluto is for sure.
Yeah, because that's what
I
they
don't
keep
think
coming and hawing, whether it's a friggin' pun. I think the last they said Pluto wasn't one.
It's not been for a while.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Pluto is a moon.
No, Mercury does have a weird orbit. You're right.
I thought
Really?
Mercury was irregular.
It has the
I
most.
think it just
eccentric
needs more
orbit.
fiber.
Well, it's the closest to the sun, so it moves the fastest. It has the most energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets ripped around.
It just needs more fiber, though.
Wow.
Also very hot.
Why does it need more fiber?
To
It'd be
become
more
regular.
regular.
Make it regular.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh!
Give you a second.
mad at myself at how long that took. Oh, I'm tired. That's my excuse.
I still came up with that.
Oh, and here I thought there was an actual punchline. I feel cheated.
I mean, there was a punch. Except for he was a regular, so it didn't.
Yeah.
Oh. Imagine
What happens if there's like 18 and a half moons?
18 and a half moons. You mean like an asteroid belt?
Sure.
Turns into hell.
Each moon rotates around another moon.
Like
Except for the half moon.
Like I said, man. It talks about it in the book, and I was looking it up a little bit. But once you go past 3 bodies in space, the math becomes stupidly impossible to. It's not impossible. It's just stupid. It's so stupid that some of the greatest minds in math today look at it and say no, thank you. And they love
We
math.
solved it in 5 minutes.
And they love math. Imagine doing something you love and looking at a problem and being like, no.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I'm good. I do it for fun.
What's your favorite thing to do in the world? Math. Well, here, can you do this problem? No. No, I don't think I will.
But it's solvable. Oh, I know, but
Well,
no.
I can. I just won't.
I have. You know
I
what?
don't think I will.
You know what I want to do with the next 20 years of my life? I want to live it.
Yeah.
Wait, what? And walks away.
I'm going to wait for Elon Musk to put out that supercomputer that they're building, and then we'll make that thing.
We'll make that.
That's the solution.
That's a
That's
question.
going to be a short amount of time.
If humans can't solve a math problem, let's say we have a math problem, we know it's solvable, but it's so complicated we can't solve it. But we invent a computer that is able to solve it. Did we solve the math problem?
No. Not if we used
Yeah.
AI. Not if we used AI.
Oh, true.
I
It's AI is its own thinking thing. It solved it. It literally worked the problem out itself.
disagree.
Basically, what you did is you're the glorified Scantron.
It's a tool. Let me put it this way, Jeremy.
isn't a tool.
Jeremy. The way I look at it is I have a 400-pound cinder block in front of me, and I am a single man, and I need to move that cinder block, and I can't push it, I can't pull it because it's too heavy for me. So instead, I put a stick underneath it. I lever it a little, put another.
No. What you're suggesting is you strapped it to a moose and hope the moose did the job.
No, but
And now you're calling a moose the tool because that's essentially what an AI is.
Or you
in
create
the same situation.
Or you create a pulley system that helps you lift the stone.
That's not AI. That's you using your own body and mathematical effort.
But you built
AI is
a
not
tool.
mathematical effort. It's not a tool. When the thing can
But
problem
it
solve
wouldn't
and has
exist if you
emotions,
did-
at least it thinks it has emotions,
It
you're
wouldn't have
stepping on,
existed
like,
if we didn't make it, though.
iRobot territory.
It still wouldn't have existed if we didn't make it. So it's still technically
Doesn't
a
matter.
tool.
Doesn't matter. That's not how that works. That's why AI
It does.
is such a touchy subject.
You can't-
You're
you
literally creating life.
You can't define
It's
AI as
playing
life
God.
because
Creating AI in a way, like smart enough AI is like playing. You're creating a creature, and then at the same time, you're saying that you have reign over that creature because you created it. But that creature has full intelligent thought and emotions and things it wants to do.
but does it or is it programmed?
which may not
to?
align with your goal?
Does it truly, or
That's
is it
exactly-
programmed to have
That's
this?
why they have a test. That's why there's a test
Well,
for that.
and if it's a supercomputer, not like we're talking about AI, but if we go back to a supercomputer, that's whole point is to build calculate.
Yes. I would agree that that is a tool. A supercomputer is a tool.
So, and that's a tool. So we use
Because
that.
the way they phrase a supercomputer is it's not thinking for itself, right? You're still plugging
Well,
the
that's what
numbers
I said.
into it.
That's
It just does everything really fast.
That's what I said. If we build a supercomputer that can calculate math that we can't do, do we still? Does that still
Yes.
count as us doing the math?
I would say so as the creator of the device, yes.
Even
I would
though
say that that's essentially
But
using a
that's why I think AI is such a touchy subject.
Sorry, Sarah?
in that case, that's essentially just using a calculator.
Yeah.
But
A more complex one.
but you could argue that a calculator can
It's got a
only
chip calculator.
can just do math faster that we can already do. Like there
Which is the point of a computer.
which is the same with the computer. It's just inputting calculations and variable calculations that we can do. But creating a supercomputer that's able to do calculations that we can't do because for reasons, let's say the math is just too complex. Does that count as us still being able to do the math?
I would say that's the thing, though. Is like there is the way math is solved. It's technically never going to be too complex. There's always going to be like a Stephen Hawking that comes out of nowhere and blows everybody's minds,
I would just
or an Elon Musk, or these crazy inventor guys.
I just imagine in like my fantasy brain, like there's this huge fanfare as they create this supercomputer, and just to show it off, they have like a 5-year-old kid input this super complex math equation that humans can't do, and it's just solved like that.
But that means that someone programmed it to be able to solve that, unless, again, it's AI. Someone had to program, because math is all... Oh, what's the right word? Math is all, like, about relationships between numbers, right? So someone had to program those relationships into it in order for it to be able to solve.
The better way to express that is they call math the universal language, right? The alien conspiracy theorists who are, I guess, if they declassified that and the alien landing actually happened, that's how we communicated, was using math.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
It's the one language that's recognized across the universe because it cannot be changed. It's always absolute.
But
Unless there's
yeah,
a species
the
that doesn't use
computer,
math.
like the computer in this situation was still created by somebody. Sure, maybe it would take a human with a pencil and a paper hundreds of years to do this this math equation. But the computer still had someone input all of these relationships between the numbers into it. It can't think for itself unless it is AI.
But yeah, technically you can never make a supercomputer that can't do or can do stuff that we can't do. It just does it so fast. That way it doesn't take us 10 years to solve the problem.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Think back to your high school days. You probably had one of those fancy, like, T84 graphing calculators, right?
No, I had like some backwater Casio thing that did all the math for me, and is the reason I passed math.
Nice.
Yeah,
Regardless.
that thing broke my teachers because it like would do conics for me. I didn't have to do any of the actual equations. I just inputted in, and it was like, oh hey, just cheat.
Oh boy. Anyways, regardless, if you have one of those and you use it the way it's intended to be used, you think about like when you have a triangle, because we just did this recently. So you have a triangle, you know the length of two sides, and you want to find one of the angles, and you use like sine, cos, or tan for that.
Parallel
Those are all
or equilateral?
right angled.
Cute.
Right angle triangles. Ugh. Ugh.
Yes. So you would use sine, cos, or tan for that. Someone had to know what the ratios are for sine, cos, or tan. way back before calculators that could do that were a thing, people had to like look them up on these giant charts. One of my teachers in high school actually kept one and showed it to me, and it was awful and looked so terrible. But the calculator can just store that information in it so you can put it in. So it's the same thing with these computers that you're talking about with a supercomputer. Someone has put that information into it, and now instead of having to look it up manually, the computer can just like grab that information and keep going.
That's interesting. I know I'm gonna hate myself for asking this question, but I can't help. 'Cause now it's burning in my what sine, cos, and tan are different. Like I know
Yes.
that sine, cos, and tan are different, but like there's different tans, there's different sines, and there's different coses. You couldn't just write down three numbers and just.
Yes, because they're numbers for a relationship. They're for like ratios. Ratios, that's the word. They are ratios.
So, aren't they subjective then?
Mm, no. Yes, like they're subjective to the numbers that are the lengths of your triangle or the angles of your triangle, but they are not subjective in the sense of like they can change because someone wants them to change.
What?
They are dependent variables. They
Yes.
they change. They're ratios. All that those three things are ratios of the different lengths and angles of triangles. And so you can use those ratios to find the other lengths or angles.
Are you
So
saying
they are subject to the particular lengths or angles of whatever triangle you're looking at, but they are not subject to the whims of an individual.
I
too
would
understand photosynthesizing.
honestly? I wish I had known that as a 16-year-old because I can just see myself arguing to death with every single math teacher I meet that sine, cos, and tan aren't real and they're simply subjective, and that every answer I write, even though it's wrong, is correct because they can't prove me wrong because they're using subjective material to prove me wrong.
No, because then you are saying that they are subject to the whims of an individual.
No, they're
which they are
subject
not.
to a ratio that they can't themselves calculate.
Yes, they can.
That they're assuming a calculator.
Very easily. The first thing you learn when you're learning how to do it is to calculate the ratio. It's just that the ratio is different for every single triangle. Because every single triangle is different.
I would expect the teachers to calculate it for every single
That's
triangle.
that height times base times, what is it, tangent? Whatever the fuck they call it, big line?
Remember SOHCAHTOA or SOHCAHTOA?
Yeah. What was the name of the big one? There's, right?
Oh, the hypotenuse.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Hippopotamus.
Hippopotamus, yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so the ratio of the sine of a right angle triangle opposite to to a specific or a specified angle to the hypotenuse. When expressed as a real number between 0 and 1, it defines the sine of the angle.
Yes.
Yay, Wikipedia.
I mean, I understand that, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that I might be the only one here.
Math is ridiculous.
I like it. I like the fact that there's always a right and wrong.
Unless you're
They're not
doing
a variable.
theoretical math.
Well, then don't do theoretical math. That's ridiculous.
Quantum mechanical theoretical math.
Exactly.
That sounds disgusting. No.
But there's no wrong answer.
Well, there's
Unless
still
there
is.
is.
I believe all of the answers are wrong.
And
Right.
right at the same time, as long as they're not observed.
The theoretical part of theoretical math, is that it's like there's still a right and a wrong, but the theory is like, the theory is about how, the theoretical part is about how, like, oh, no, I can't put that into words. It's not about what the answer is at the end. It's more about, like, does the particular formula work?
It's not about the answer, it's the journey to the answer.
It actually, yes, it is. That's what theoretical math is.
I'm gonna be honest. That's probably why I never liked math, is because in every other subject I could argue that I'm right with my professor, and I would either grind them down, or teacher, I'd grind them down to the point that they would just give up and say I'm right, or I would convince them that I'm right, and I couldn't do that in math because there was just this is the answer, and I'd be like, damn it.
That's why I love it, because I always know that there's an answer that's right.
Yeah, and I would always get an answer. It would just always be wrong. Until I found a calculator, like I said, that goddamn Casio. If anyone out there is listening who's in high school and needs a calculator, Casio i88B or something. They're like $20. They're like they look like they're like made in like China. But my God, that thing got me through high school math and did everything for me. It's the only reason I passed math in high school is that calculator.
Casio i88B appears to be a watch.
I found a piano.
Try Casio graphing calculator.
I found a Casio FX 115ES Plus Engineering Scientific Calculator.
Is it white with a green back and looks like it's really tacky?
It looks really tacky, but it doesn't have a green back.
The model has likely changed since then.
That's it though then. God, they're the greatest thing.
It's $200.
Oh, then that's not it, because mine was 20.
That was also a long time ago.
Well, Texas Instruments were like $200, and that was $20. You know what? I bet you more kids realized that it was the greatest calculator for cheating way through math, so they just hiked the price.
The way that you described it doesn't make sense for a graphing calculator, though.
So, honestly, if I still had it today,
you don't still have your graphing calculator sitting around, unlike me, who actually does?
I mean, it might be somewhere, but so you turn it on. Actually, I think I know where it is. Actually, I might be able to grab it. So you turn it on, and you have a selection screen like a Game Boy, and you have 12 choices. Conics, sphere, area, logs, basically every subject in high school. This is the best way I can describe it.
Huh. I would love to see this calculator if you can find it.
If you guys can hold down the fort for a couple minutes, I think I can grab it.
We don't have a fort.
Oh, you have it there? Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a fort, though.
Wait, you speak for yourself.
I mean, I have a closet fort, but that's about it.
Ooh, a closet fort. That's exciting.
Yeah, right there.
As a fun fact, actually, Greasy Boy, you might be young enough that you saw these in school. Graphing calculators are like super fancy nowadays. They have like LCD screens and everything. You can play like real games on them.
Yeah, you can play Doom.
Yeah.
Soon you can play Doom on a cat.
But I don't know. It's weird. It's super weird, and they have to be charged. You have to like plug them in to charge them, and that's the worst.
Yeah.
I would have hated that as a kid. Give me a good set of batteries any day.
So, did anyone see the eclipse?
No, it was way too late / early. But it doesn't appear that anything crazy happened.
There was this weird green beam for a little while.
Ooh, where did it come from?
The tower.
The Calgary Tower?
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah. It's almost as if it were foretold
Mm-hmm. Sir
by
Jeremy
one
knows the
who's
future.
very elusive.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who caused it.
It was him? He was attacking the city?
It was him. He just admitted it.
That does seem likely.
I know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Plausible deniability.
Green beams during eclipses, man. You predicted it.
And right around Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I tried.
What a coincidence.
SOL. Couldn't find it.
You'll have to keep
Oh.
trying another time and see if you can show it to me, because now I'm very curious about your calculator.
Yeah.
Did you check under the third shelf on the left?
I don't think it's there, but I'll keep looking. That being said, we are at time. And
We really drifted away from werewolves.
Did
We
we?
started talking about werewolves.
Did we?
Mhm.
Theoretical werewolves.
We really did.
To everyone out there in cyberspace, I'm sorry you had nothing better to do, but I'm glad you spent it with us here. We are the Villains of the Villains Talk Show. And stuff.
And we're all secretly werewolves.
I thought we were the Blathy Bunch.
Gross. I have more respect in my life than to be a fucking werewolf.
Okay, except for him, he's a vampire.
Only if I'm the sparkly kind.
I'm pretty sure we're the Blathy Bunch.
Did you say you want to be the sparkly kind?
Yes.
Nice.